Hey guys, welcome back, I'm Jay. In this episode, we're going to look at EC2 instance lifecycle. An EC2 instance provides a number of behaviors that you can control. For example, you can launch an instance, stop and start an instance, hibernate an instance and persist its memory, reboot an instance, and terminate an instance to delete it entirely. In addition, an EC2 instance can also be retired or recovered. You can only stop or hibernate an EBS-backed instance. When you execute an instance behavior, the EC2 instance can transition through a series of instance states. An instance can be in the pending, running, stopping, stopped, shutting down or terminated state. When you launch an EC2 instance from an AMI, AWS creates the instance and prepare the operating system and bootstrap. EC2 instance transitions from the pending state to the running state. After the instance has been launched, you can connect to the instance and start to use it. When you stop an instance, EBS volumes remain attached to the instance, and data stored in EBS volumes is persisted. Any data stored in instance store or RAM is lost. The instance retains the instance ID, private IPv4, IPv6 and elastic IP addresses. However, the public IPv4 address is released when the instance is stopped. When you start the instance again, a new public IPv4 is assigned to the instance. When you hibernate an instance, similar to stop, EBS volumes remain attached to the instance, data stored in EBS volumes is persisted. Any instance store volumes remain attached to the instance, but data in the instance store volumes is lost. RAM content is saved to the EBS root volume, and reloaded when the instance is started. The instance retains the instance ID, private IPv4, IPv6, and elastic IP addresses. However, the public IPv4 address is released after the instance is stopped. When you start the instance again, a new public IPv4 is assigned to the instance. The previous process that was running on the instance is resumed. You may want to use hibernation to pre-warm an instance, when it has time-consuming bootstrap to run, or to save the progress for long-running workloads. For example, you can enable hibernation for spot instances. In the event of a service interruption, you can save the process, and quickly resume the process when the capacity becomes available. For various reasons, you may want to reboot a running instance, such as rebooting after system updates. An instance reboot is equivalent to an OS restart. The instance stays in the running state during the reboot. Public DNS name, public and private IP addresses, and data stored in instance store and EBS remain the same after the reboot. If you no longer need an instance, you can terminate it permanently and stop incurring charges for that instance. You can persist the EBS volumes including the root device, by setting the delete on termination attribute to false. However, you still need to pay for the storage. You can also prevent an instance from being accidentally terminated, by enabling the termination protection. An instance might be scheduled for retirement, if there is a hardware failure. When an instance is retired, it's stopped or terminated depending on the root device. For the EBS-backed instance, the instance is stopped and you can start it again. Starting the stopped instance will migrate it to the new hardware. For any instance store-backed instance, the instance is terminated and cannot be used again. You can create a CloudWatch alarm that monitors an instance, and recovers it if there is a hardware failure. The recovered instance has the same instance metadata as the original instance, such as instance ID, private IP address, and elastic IP address. After you launch an EC2 instance from AMI, first the instance enters the pending state. EC2 creates the instance, and prepare the operating system and bootstrap. It might take a few minutes for the instance to be ready, depending on the operating system and bootstrap process. When the instance is ready, it transitions to the running state. You can connect to the running instance and start the workload. For example, if your instance is running a web server, your application can begin to serve traffic. As soon as your instance transitions to the running state, it starts to incur charges. You may want to reboot the running instance from time to time, such as rebooting after system updates. Rebooting the instance is similar to restarting the operating system. In most cases, it only takes a few minutes. During the reboot, the instance stays in the running state. If you no longer need the instance, you can terminate it permanently. First, it enters the shutting down state. EC2 begins to delete the instance, such as erasing the RAM and root device, and releasing the resources. After the deletion is completed, it enters the terminated state. As soon as the instance changes to shutting down or terminated, you stop incurring charges. After the instance is terminated, it's permanently deleted and you cannot start it again. If your instance is an EBS-backed instance, you can stop or hibernate the running instance. First it enters the stopping state, and then transitions to the stopped state. You may stop or hibernate your instance for various reasons. For example, you have a periodic job running on EC2, that you want to stop the instance as soon as the job is completed. If you need the instance again, you can start the stopped instance. First, it enters the pending state, EC2 moves the instance to a new host. As soon as the instance is ready to use, it enters the running state. You can also terminate the stopped instance if you no longer need it. Termination deletes the instance permanently. Pending state is the state that the instance is preparing for the running state. It can be triggered by an instance launch, or an instance start from a stopped state. You won't be charged when the instance is in the pending state. As soon as your instance transitions to the running state, you are billed for each second while it's running. When you reboot an instance, you still pay for the instance as it's in the running state. When you stop an instance, the instance first enters a stopping state. If the instance is preparing to stop, you won't be charged for the stopping state. However, if the instance is preparing to hibernate, you pay for the stopping state. As soon as your instance enters the stopped, shutting down or terminated state, you stop incurring charges. However, you need to pay for any saved EBS storage. For example, if you persist EBS volumes after termination, you pay for the storage even after the instance is terminated. In this episode, we've learned instance behaviors and states in EC2 lifecycle. EC2 provides a number of instance behaviors that you can control. You can launch an instance, stop and start an instance, hibernate an instance and persist its memory, reboot an instance or terminate an instance. In addition, an instance can also be retired or recovered. When you execute an instance behavior, the EC2 instance can transition through a series of instance states. An instance can be in the pending, running, stopping, stopped, shutting down or terminated state. Okay, that's all for EC2 lifecycle. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.
Hope you've enjoyed watching this episode. If you liked the video, please help us and hit the like button. If you want to watch more tutorials, please subscribe to the Cloudemy TV channel. Make sure to turn on the notification and stay tuned. At Cloudemy, we're passionate about cloud and AI technology. Please share your feedback and thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to watch. Happy watching and happy learning.